Okay, I just moved the trampoline because it was underneath. This whole section is busted. It's just caught, I think, on this other tree, and then it's gonna drop. So I moved the trampoline, so that whole piece right there that's broken off won't land, and put a hole through the trampoline. Yeah, so that whole section snapped, and you can see all of those in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Those are all snapped off. It's just dangling. So those will be falling at some point. But dang, just from wind. I'm not going under the tree, don't worry. But look at the branch. Like it's not a small, look, I want Jay to come out here and just pull this down, but that's crazy. Yeah, this whole piece right here is snapped off. It's just hanging there. And we have this whole big piece of tree down. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but every single one of those branches are snapped off. It's just the whole top of the tree. That's crazy. So all of those are snapped and just hanging here. Okay, I am like literally having a heart attack today. So yesterday we had a huge like wind storm, and I looked outside at one point out of Alex's window, and it's like, what the hell, part of the tree in the backyard fell. It was like laying right beside the trampoline and kind of like touching the trampoline. Very blurry. Oh my god. Or is it the sunlight? And so I came out here and there was like a second part broken that was like dangling over the trampoline. So I hurried up and moved the trampoline away from where it was at, so in case it fell, it wouldn't go through the trampoline. So my stepdad came over today and was out here, you know, looking around back here to see what all we needed to get done, because we don't have a chainsaw, we don't know how to do that crap. And while he was looking around, he was like, started to lose his balance, and he's like grabbing for stuff and ended up falling, like landing on his back. Well then, sorry you're so close. Well then, he said he'd be back like in a couple days with a chainsaw to start getting some of this down, because we didn't want the kids, like, or even Adri out here playing with this tree dangling. But he ended up coming back with a chainsaw and a ladder. And let me just show you what happened. And oh my god, I had a heart attack. Okay, so clear up here, the whole top of the tree snapped. Let's see if we can zoom in. Yeah. You can see right there, the whole top of the tree snapped. And actually made it all the way down to the ground. But in the process, we have a huge mess. In the process of it coming down, there was like a whole section right here. Part of it's still hanging right there, but there was a whole section that didn't fall all the way down and just kind of dangling. You can see, oh, let me, you see all these snapped branches? So our concern was the big piece that was dangling, like we didn't want it to fall, like if Adri was out here playing or whatever. So my stepdad came over with a ladder. Okay. He's had neck surgeries, back surgeries. He just had that stem cell procedure done, what, a couple weeks ago. So he had his ladder over here, like a tall ladder, and he was standing on the ladder, and he was, okay, you see that? He started to cut from underneath to like get a little cut going, and like instantly the chainsaw, the chain got caught because there was so much weight from all those branches hanging on that limb, because that limb like went clear over to here. Like it went clear over, it was like a straight across one, so all those things were like hanging on it. So he couldn't do that part from underneath, so he decided that he would cut from on top. So he used to trim trees when we were kids, like in our backyard, and he would like use a rope and like tie himself to a rope in case something happened. Well, he didn't do that today, and I was reminded today why I never watched him as a kid, because, okay, so back here's a tree. So as he's on this ladder and up here cutting this, as soon as that started to go, the whole section that was resting on it started to go. Well, when it did, it swung around like this and smashed the ladder and took the ladder out from under him. I'm gonna cry just talking about it. So then he's like hanging from this branch with one arm, and he's got the chainsaw on the other, and then he just had to drop. So he dropped straight down, into all this crap, like flat on his back. I went running through all this shit. Well, I picked a lot of it up because it's over here. I went running through the yard like, no, no, no. Like, I was scared to death that he like just really hurt himself. And he's like, I'm okay, I'm okay. And I like grabbed him. I'm just like sobbing on his shoulder. He's like, Angie's like, it's okay, I'm fine. He's like, I didn't mean to scare you. The chainsaw's still running. It's still in his hand. Oh, it's horrible. I said, this is why I never watched these kids. Like, I cried for probably 20 minutes. I couldn't stop. I went in, I called my mom. Like, they're not married. They haven't been married for years, but I still, I called my mom. Like, I was just reminded why I never watched him trim trees as a kid. So, yeah, I'm way too emotional for that kind of stuff. So, there's all this stuff down. After that, he just kind of cut up the big stuff, like where it's at, and I'll move all this other stuff with Jay and I. So I had this big pile of brush that I decided I'm going to start putting back there where our sticks were. We had this big pile started of logs. I have the pruners out here. Now this, I don't know if you can tell, there's a branch hanging right here that's still kind of caught. These right here are snapped. They're just kind of dangling in other branches. So those are going to have to come down at some point. Back here, you see that branch? That's hanging down. And do you see where this tree, sorry, the sun's right in the way. Let me try and get where the sun, let me block the sun. Okay, this tree right here is like uprooted and laying across, and it's laying on these lines over here that I called the electric company like 2 months ago when we had like a windstorm and told them, because it's literally, you can see it's laying on, I don't know if you can tell, it's laying on these two lines that are coming out from that pole in the neighbor's yard. So I called the electric company. They said it was cable, so I called Spectrum, who our cable is with, and they came out and they said it's not theirs. They said it's AT&T. They said they just pinged their line off of that pole. So I tried calling AT&T today, but it's Sunday, so nobody answered. So I need to try calling them tomorrow, and they're gonna have to have somebody come out and just like cut that whole tree down before it takes out their whole lines and all of their stuff. So yeah, we have a mess out here. And I about had a heart attack. I'm gonna have nightmares for weeks. And before my stepdad left, yeah, look, we have stuff here. I told him, I said, let me check your back, because he was gonna end up cutting the rest of that down. I said, let me check your back and make sure you don't have like any open wounds or anything. Like, he was in his Carhartt suit thing, but still dropping from clear up there. And thank God he landed flat on his back, because if he would have been angled even a little bit farther, he would have probably broken his neck. Like, it was horrifying experience. Today I went running inside crying. Jay's like, what happened? He's like, I heard the thing snap. He's like, but I looked, by the time I got up and looked out there, you guys were both standing up, so I thought everything was fine. So I told him what happened. And my sister has to trash his ladder because that limb just totally it's that limb back here, this big one back here, swung down and just smashed his ladder in. So I just have all this stuff. And it's a maple tree, I think you said. So we have all this to pick up. And like I said, these are still have to come down. This branch up here, but look at all that just snapped from the wind. That's gonna come down. And if that's too heavy, it might end up taking this branch down too. I don't know. But we have a mess to clean up. But anyway, I was looking at my stepdad's back. And I was like, well, I said right here, it looks kind of purple. And he like jerked, he's like, oh, he's like, I feel that. So he like, within a half hour already had this huge knot and like bruising starting on his back. Hopefully he didn't, I'm sure he didn't puncture a lung or anything or collapse a lung, because he wouldn't have been cutting up more tree. But I'm freezing out here. It's cold. I still can't believe, like, we have stuff out everywhere. I still can't believe nothing snapped off of that big old tree. Look at that thing. Like, our house is like literally a 3-story because it has a finished attic that you can stand up in all the way, and it's that tall. And look at this tree. It's just, this tree, there's this huge limb right there is all dead. That whole branch is dead. There used to be a branch that came out over there and went across the neighbor's yard and was like touching those wires, and I think it partially fell, and they just cut it the rest of the way down. But yeah, so I need to get AT&T out here so they can fix that line. And the line actually runs from that pole. It runs to my house and the neighbor's house, but neither of us have AT&T. So if it snaps, it won't cause us any damage. But still, they need to come cut it down before that pole is down and in my yard. And look, that pole's leaning too, because of just probably the weight from that branch on it. But yeah, so that's how far he fell, from right there where he was cutting it. And that's the whole top of the tree gone. Crazy. It was probably as tall as that, if not taller. It looked big up there, but when it's actually on the ground, it's just like, man, that's a lot of tree. See, my whole backyard. I told Jess, if I was out here for 2 hours every day, I'd be out here for over a week trying to clean all this up. I said, I got a pile of brush started, but I'm thinking I'm just going to throw it back there with a stick so it can just dry out, because we don't really burn anyway. I feel like I jammed my thumb. And then we have a pile of logs I'm going to have to add to. But yeah. But yeah, that's how my Sunday was. Like, I don't know if like, it was in slow motion. Like, as soon as that thing started to go, because I told him, I said, I just don't want it to drop straight down and land on your head. Like, I don't want to watch my dad's head get split open. And he's like, well, it won't drop straight down. He thought it was going to flip out the other way, and it kind of did, but where it kind of caught, like I said, it just swung down and just smashed that ladder and took it out. But, oh my God, you guys. It was like slow motion. Like, the limb was falling in slow motion, the ladder, and they just hanging there. And I'm like, no, no. I literally yelled out loud. I'm like, no, no, no. And I'm running through the yard. Like, I don't know. I thought I was going to catch him or what. And I was like, it's like sobbing. Oh my God. And like, these people back here behind us, but over a house, they were like at the back of their yard. They came running. It was a guy and his son. They came running. Like, I look up and like, and I saw him back there before this all happened. And then next thing I know, I hear him like whistling and hollering, and Paul's like, oh, I'm okay. Give him a thumbs up. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't do it. There's acorns everywhere from this stupid tree. I told my nephew to come get him because he is a deer hunter. I'm like, come clean him up. You can have buckets and buckets. But okay, this day is exhausting me.